Hey guys, tonight we're going to do something a little different. Instead of focusing on kings, queens, or epic battles, we're going to experience one of the greatest cities in history from a perspective you've almost certainly never considered. We are going down to the streets, down to the grimy, beautiful, chaotic cobblestones of ancient Rome, and we are going to see it all through the eyes of a creature that saw everything but was noticed by almost no one, a stray dog. From the rancid alleys of the slums to the gleaming marble of the Forum, its story is the story of Rome itself. A tale of grit, grandeur, and survival. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It is always fascinating to see who is joining us from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You wake up, but not because you want to. It's because the world is forcing its way back into your senses. The first thing you notice isn't light, but a feeling. The cold, damp stone of the alley floor has seeped into your bones through the night, a familiar ache that serves as your morning alarm clock. You're curled up against the grimy base of an insula, one of those towering, teetering apartment blocks that lean on each other for support in the Suburra district. It's the ancient Roman equivalent of a tenement, crammed with more life, noise, and desperation than seems physically possible. The first rays of sunlight haven't yet managed to pierce the narrow canyon between the buildings. Down here, dawn is less a sunrise and more a gradual shift from inky black to a hazy, bruised gray. You stretch, a slow, stiff movement that sends a shiver through your matted fur. Your muscles protest, still stiff from the chill. Then comes the smell. Rome doesn't just have one smell, it's a symphony of odors. And here in the Suburra, the orchestra is playing a particularly pungent tune. There's the rich, warm, almost holy aroma of baking bread, wafting from the pistrinum just down the alley. It's a scent of life, of sustenance. A promise of something good in a world that rarely keeps its promises. But woven through that beautiful note is the sour, acidic stench rising from the open sewer trench that runs down the middle of the street. It's the smell of waste, of decay, of thousands of people living on top of one another. The two scents don't mix, they fight, a constant battle in the air you breathe. It's the smell of Rome itself, beauty and filth, life and rot, all tangled together. And finally, the sound. The city is waking up around you, not with a sudden roar, but with 1,000 tiny, intimate noises. From the floors above, you hear the raw, hacking cough of a neighbor, a sound as regular as the sunrise. It's the soundtrack of damp rooms and long winters. A baby begins to cry from another window, a thin, wailing complaint against the cold and the hunger. Wooden shutters creak open. The gruff mumble of a man's voice, the sharper reply of a woman's. Footsteps shuffle on the floorboards overhead. It's a gentle, rising hum, the sound of a giant beast stirring from its slumber. This isn't the grand imperial Rome of statues and speeches. This is the real Rome, the living, breathing, coughing, crying Rome, waking up in your ears. You are just a small, insignificant part of it, a stray dog in the shadows. But you are here. You are a witness, and another day has begun. The heavy wooden door of the bakery groans open, a sound that pulls your attention like a physical string. A woman emerges, her figure silhouetted for a moment against the warm, golden glow from within. It's the baker's wife. You know her by her shape, by the weary way she moves, by the basket of day-old loaves she carries. She steps into the alley, her sandals slapping softly on the damp stones. Her eyes, accustomed to the dim light, scan the narrow space and find you. You don't move, don't wag your tail, don't beg. Begging is a sign of weakness, and weakness attracts the wrong kind of attention. You just watch, your body held perfectly still, a statue carved from hope and hunger. She sees you. For a moment, her expression is unreadable. Then a long, slow sigh escapes her lips. It's not a sigh of annoyance, but of resignation, maybe even a flicker of pity. It's the sigh of someone who sees too much hardship every day and knows she can't fix it all. She reaches into her basket, her hands searching for a moment before pulling out a small, dark loaf. It's hard as a rock, the kind of bread that would be thrown out or sold for pennies to the poorest of the poor. She doesn't say a word. With a simple, practiced flick of her wrist, she tosses it onto the ground a few feet in front of you. It lands with a dull thud. You hear her mutter something under her breath. As she turns to leave, a quiet whisper lost in the morning air. It sounds like a prayer or maybe a small blessing. May you live well today, little thing. It's a sliver of kindness in a world that is mostly stone and indifference. You wait until the heavy door has closed behind her, shutting off the golden light. Only then do you inch forward, sniffing the bread cautiously. It's real. It's yours. You snatch it up in your jaws, the hard crust scraping against your teeth. This isn't just food. It is a small victory. It is the first piece of luck in a day that will be full of gambles. You have survived the night, and now, thanks to the quiet generosity of a tired woman, you have a chance to survive the morning. Clutching the hard-won bread in your mouth, you retreat to a safer corner of the alley to eat. As you gnaw on the tough crust, a new sound joins the morning's chorus, the light, chattering voices of children. A small group of them has appeared at the end of the alley, playing in a patch of muddy earth where the cobblestones have long since disappeared. Their game is simple, a flicking of smooth stones, their laughter sharp and clear in the cool air. They exist in a world of their own, a bubble of innocence amidst the surrounding grime. You watch them from a distance, wary. Children can be unpredictable. Sometimes they offer a gentle hand, other times a well-aimed rock. One of them, a little girl with tangled dark hair and a smudged face, keeps glancing over at you. Her friends are absorbed in their game, but her attention is divided. You see her mother nearby, haggling with a street vendor, her back turned for just a moment. That's all the opportunity the girl needs. She whispers something to her friends, then, quick as a mouse, she darts away from the group and runs towards you. Your muscles tense. You stop chewing, ready to bolt. But she stops a few feet away, her movements slow and deliberate, a gesture of peace. She crouches down, her eyes wide and curious. Then she takes another step closer. You feel it before you see it, a small, surprisingly warm hand landing gently on the top of your head. The touch is feather, light, hesitant, and lasts for only a second. It's a secret, fleeting moment of connection, a silent acknowledgement that you exist. You can feel the warmth from her palms spreading through your fur, a strange and welcome sensation. From the end of the alley, a sharp voice cuts through the air. "Livia, get away from that filthy thing now." The girl's mother has turned around, her face a mask of alarm and disapproval. The little girl, Livia, snatches her hand back as if burned. She gives you one last, quick look, a mixture of apology and fascination, before scrambling back to her mother, who immediately begins scolding her, her voice a low, angry buzz. "The magic is broken. You are once again just a dirty dog, a thing to be avoided. But for a brief, shining moment, you are not. You were a secret worth keeping. Your thirst, a dry, rasping need in the back of your throat, finally drives you from the relative safety of the alley. You make your way to the public fountain at the corner of the street. It's not a grand decorative fountain like the ones in the rich parts of the city. This one is pure function. A simple stone basin with a steady trickle of water pouring from a lead pipe, a lifeline for the entire neighborhood. A small crowd of women is already gathered there, their clay and pottery jugs lined up, waiting their turn. They are the information brokers of the Suburra, the living, breathing network that carries news, gossip, and rumor from one insula to the next. Their voices create a constant fluttering sound, like a flock of sparrows chattering on a wire. You keep your distance, lurking near the edge of the small piazza, lapping at the overflow that pools in a grimy depression in the cobblestones. The water is cool and tastes of stone and city. As you drink, you listen. You don't understand the words, not in the way humans do, but you understand the tones, the rhythms, the sharp inhales of surprise and the low murmurs of disapproval. Their conversation weaves a picture of a world you can see but never touch. A world of possessions, status, and worries that are completely alien to your own. You hear one woman's voice rise with a note of awe. She's talking about a senator's wife, a name that means nothing to you, and a new necklace she wore to a festival. An Egyptian necklace, she stresses, the word Egyptian dripping with exotic luxury. It was made of gold and lapis lazuli, she says, and it glittered so brightly in the sun it hurt to look at. Another woman scoffs, her voice laced with a bitter envy. She calculates the cost, not in sesterces, but in human effort. The price of that single piece of jewelry, she whispers, would be enough to pay her husband for a year of back, breaking work down at the docks, hauling amphorae from dawn until dusk. A year of sweat, calloused hands, and aching muscles all hanging around a rich woman's neck. The other women fall silent for a moment, the weight of that comparison settling over them. They live in the same city, breathe the same air, yet they might as well be on different planets. You finish drinking, the cool water doing little to wash away the dust of their words. You are a stray, a creature of the gutters, but even you can feel the invisible walls that divide this city into 1,000 different realities. You leave the women and their whispers behind, turning down a narrow lane that is a world of its own. This is the street of the artisans. The air here is thick, not with the smell of sewage, but with the sharp, almost chemical tang of tanned leather, the dusty scent of sawed wood, and the faint, metallic odor of the blacksmith's forge. The sound is different too. It's not the hum of human voices, but a percussive industrial rhythm, the steady thump, thump, thump of a hammer on metal, the grating rasp of a saw cutting through a plank, the rhythmic tapping of a leatherworker's awl. It's the sound of things being made, of raw materials being forced into new shapes by sweat and skill. You pad silently past a carpenter's workshop, a wide open space that spills out into the street. A master craftsman, a man with powerful sinewy arms and a face etched with lines of concentration, is leaning over a workbench. He's grumbling to his young apprentice, a skinny boy who is struggling to hold a piece of wood steady. The carpenter's voice is a low, frustrated growl, not truly angry at the boy, but at the world. You catch snippets of his complaint, a litany of woes that echoes the women's gossip at the fountain. He's complaining about the emperor, a name you recognize from the roars of the crowds, Trajan. The emperor is building another grand forum, another monument to his own glory, all gleaming marble and towering columns. But glory, the carpenter mutters, isn't free. He gestures with his hammer towards the street. The taxes, he complains, are getting heavier with every passing season. A tax on the wood he buys, a tax on the furniture he sells, a tax on the very roof over his head. It's a constant, crushing weight. He feels like he's building the emperor's new forum one plank, one nail, one drop of sweat at a time. And for what? So that senators can stroll through sun-drenched colonnades while he can barely afford to buy his family a decent piece of pork for the Saturnalia feast. The apprentice says nothing, just keeps his head down, his knuckles white as he grips the wood. He's learning more than just carpentry today. He's learning the heavy, unspoken truth of being a working man in Rome, that the magnificent city rising around them is built on their backs, on their burdens, on their quiet, unending resentment. You move on, the rhythmic hammering following you down the lane, each strike sounding like a nail being driven into the coffin of a poor man's hope. Something inside you shifts. A decision is made, not with thoughts, but with instinct. You've had enough of this familiar world of the crowded alleys, the sharp smells, the suffocating weight of a million small struggles. The Suburra is a cage, and today you need to feel the sun. You turn your nose away from the maze of tenements and workshops and begin to walk, your paws carrying you with a new sense of purpose. The change is gradual at first, but undeniable. The ground beneath your feet transforms. The soft, muddy earth of the back alleys gives way to hard-packed gravel, and then finally, to the solid, reassuring feel of smooth-fitted flagstones. These are the veins of Rome, the pathways that carry its lifeblood. The air begins to change, too. The overpowering stench of sewage and refuse begins to fade, replaced by a cleaner, more open scent. You can still smell the city, the smoke from countless hearths, the aroma of food from street stalls, the faint, dusty perfume of stone, but it's less aggressive, less desperate. It's as if the entire city has taken a deep, cleansing breath. The sounds also modulate. The intimate, close-quarters noises of the Suburra, the coughing, the arguments, the crying babies, are replaced by a broader, deeper hum. The distant rumble of wagon wheels on stone, the murmur of hundreds of conversations blending into a single powerful drone, the faint, far-off sound of music. You feel a change in the people you pass. They walk differently here. Their strides are longer, more confident. Their clothes are cleaner, their faces less etched with worry. They are still Romans, still caught in the currents of their own lives, but they move with an air of purpose that is absent in the slums you just left behind. You are moving uphill, climbing out of the city's crowded gut. With every step, you feel the world expanding, the sky opening up above you. You are an anonymous creature, a speck of dust in the grand machine of the city, but you feel the pull of its gravity. You are being drawn towards its center, towards the source of its power and its glory. You are walking towards the Forum. You are walking towards the Forum. You are walking towards the heart of Rome. You emerge from the narrow street, and the world explodes into light and space. You've arrived, the Roman Forum. No matter how many times you've seen it, the sheer scale of the place always hits you like a physical blow, a shock that momentarily stops your breath. After the cramped, claustrophobic alleys of the Suburra, the Forum feels like another universe, a world built by giants for gods. It's not just a collection of buildings, it's a statement, a declaration of power carved in acres of stone and marble. Your dog's eye view makes it all the more overwhelming. The columns of the temples aren't just columns. They are colossal white marble tree trunks that soar into the impossible blue of the sky, their ornate capitals disappearing into the blinding sunlight. They don't just hold up roofs, they hold up the heavens. The basilicas, those massive public halls, are fringed with roofs of gilded bronze that catch the sun and throw it back in shimmering, golden sheets. The glare is so intense it forces you to squint, transforming the heart of the city into a landscape of dazzling, divine fire. And everywhere, there are the statues, gods, emperors, and heroes frozen in poses of eternal confidence, their marble eyes gazing out over the crowds with a serene, unnerving indifference. They stand on pedestals taller than the buildings you just left, their perfect, stony faces looking past the chaos of the present and into the vast expanse of eternity. They are the silent, permanent residents of this place, and everyone else is just a temporary visitor. Even the air here is different. It's thinner, cleaner, and seems to vibrate with a low, powerful energy. The sounds are transformed. The frantic individual noises of the city merge into a majestic, reverent hum. You hear the rhythmic clatter of chariot wheels on the sacred way, the distant, echoing pronouncements of a magistrate from the steps of a basilica, and the constant, soft murmur of thousands of people speaking in dozens of different languages. It's the sound of an empire's business being conducted, the sound of power itself. You are a tiny, furred creature in a landscape of giants, a smudge of dirt in a world of pristine white marble. You are utterly, completely insignificant here, and yet you are a part of it, a silent observer standing in the very heart of the world, a witness to the awesome, terrifying spectacle of Rome at the peak of its glory. Your attention is drawn to a dense knot of people gathered at the base of the rostra, the speaker's platform that stands near the center of the forum. It's a familiar sight. Men in clean tunics and respectable togas, merchants, clerks, and off-duty soldiers all crowded together, their faces upturned and rapt with attention. In the center of the crowd, elevated on the bronze, beaked platform, a man is speaking. He's an orator, one of those men who make their living by weaving words into weapons, into inspiration, into power. You can't see him clearly, only the expressive gestures of his arms as he punctuates his speech. But you can hear his voice. It rolls across the forum, a rich, powerful baritone that seems to need no effort to command the attention of hundreds. It's a trained instrument, rising and falling with practiced, dramatic cadence. He's not just talking, he is performing. His words are a torrent of praise, a river of glory flowing towards one name you hear repeated over and over. Trajan, the emperor. The same name the carpenter in the alley had grumbled with such resentment. Here, in the gleaming heart of the empire, that name is spoken with a kind of religious fervor, The orator speaks of Roman honor, of the legions marching victoriously at the edges of the known world, of the gods smiling down upon their chosen city. He paints a picture of an empire at its zenith, a golden age of peace and prosperity, all thanks to the wisdom and strength of its divine leader. Every time he pauses, a roar of approval erupts from the crowd. The men cheer, they stamp their feet, they raise their fists in the air. Their individual voices merge into a single massive wave of sound, a visceral expression of collective pride and adoration. You don't understand politics. The concepts of empire, conquest, and civic duty are meaningless to you. But you understand emotion. You can feel the raw power of it radiating from the crowd. It's a kind of intoxicating energy, a potent brew of patriotism and hero worship. It's the same energy you feel on a smaller scale when a pack of dogs gathers to bark at a perceived threat, a surge of unity that makes every individual feel stronger, braver, part of something larger than themselves. For these men standing here in the sun-drenched forum, Rome is not just a place. It is an idea, a feeling, a source of immense, unquestioning pride. The orator is simply giving that feeling a voice. You watch for a few more minutes, then slip away, the sound of the cheering crowd following you like the roar of a distant, powerful ocean. Suddenly, a strange hush falls over a section of the forum. The constant hum of conversation dips, the shuffling of sandals quiets, and a pathway magically opens in the crowd. People don't just step aside, they shrink back, their movements full of a sudden, deep-seated reverence. Their faces, which moments before were animated with business or gossip, now become still, their eyes lowered in a gesture of profound respect. You feel the shift in energy immediately. It's a palpable change, a wave of solemnity that washes over the bustling square. You follow their gaze and see the reason for the sudden silence. A procession is moving slowly and deliberately across the cobblestones. It is a small group of women dressed in immaculate white robes that seem to shimmer in the bright sunlight. Their hair is elaborately braided in an ancient traditional style, and their faces are serene, impassive masks of duty. They are the Vestal virgins, the priestesses of Vesta, the goddess of the hearth and home. They are the keepers of Rome's sacred flame, a fire that must never be allowed to die out, for its extinction would signal the end of Rome itself. They are more than just priestesses. They are living symbols of the city's purity, its continuity, its covenant with the gods. Their presence transforms the mundane space of the forum into a sacred ground. You watch them from the shadows of a nearby column, your own body instinctively lowering to the ground. You can read the emotion in the eyes of the humans around you. It's not fear, like the kind a legionary patrol inspires. It is awe, a deep instinctual reverence for something holy, something untouchable. The men avert their gazes. The women bow their heads. Even the boisterous children fall silent, clinging to their mothers' tunics, sensing that they are in the presence of something profound and mysterious. The Vestals walk with a slow, measured grace, their expressions detached, their eyes focused on some distant, unseen point. They seem to move in a bubble of silence, insulated from the noise and chaos of the city around them. They are in this world, but not entirely of it. This is a moment outside of ordinary time, a brief, sacred pause in the relentless rhythm of the city. No one speaks, no one moves until they have passed. Even you, a creature of instinct and survival, feel the weight of the moment. You press your belly to the cool stone, making yourself small, holding your breath, not daring to meet the eyes of the women in white. The procession of silent, white-robed women continues on its sacred path, and the forum slowly returns to its normal rhythm. The bubble of silence pops, and the familiar hum of commerce and conversation rushes back in to fill the void. Seeking shade from the increasingly hot sun, you slip under the massive, sheltering portico of the Basilica Julia. It's one of the colossal buildings that dominates the main square, a vast hall supported by a forest of marble columns. Inside, the air is cool and dim, a welcome relief from the glare outside. The space is cavernous, and the sounds from the forum are muted here, replaced by a more focused, echoing resonance. This is not a temple for the gods. It is a temple for human affairs. It's a courthouse, a stock exchange, and a public meeting place all rolled into one. From your hiding spot behind the base of a column, you see that a trial is underway in one of the partitioned sections of the hall. A small crowd has gathered to watch, a mix of curious onlookers and people with vested interests in the outcome. In the center of the proceedings sits a magistrate, a stern-looking man in a formal toga with purple stripes, his face a mask of bored authority. Standing before him are two men, their voices sharp with anger and indignation. One of them, a merchant with a fleshy face and expensive-looking rings on his fingers, is gesturing wildly, his voice rising in outrage. You don't need to understand the words to grasp the core of the drama: accusation and denial. You can hear the merchant's angry words echoing off the high, coffered ceilings. He's jabbing a finger at the other man, a thinner, more nervous-looking individual who keeps wringing his hands. The merchant is accusing him of fraud, of a betrayal of trust that strikes at the very heart of Roman commerce. You catch a few key words carried on the waves of his anger: oleum, olive oil, and aqua, water. He is claiming that this man, his competitor, has been diluting his olive oil with water, stretching his product to undercut the prices of honest merchants like himself. It's a crime that is both petty and profound, a small act of deceit that threatens the integrity of the entire marketplace. The crowd murmurs, some nodding in agreement, others shaking their heads in disapproval. They have all heard stories like this before. The magistrate finally raises a hand, and a clerk calls for silence. The judge's voice when he speaks is the complete opposite of the merchant's. It is calm, measured, and devoid of emotion. He begins to question the accused man, his words falling like carefully placed stones into a pool of silence. Each question is precise, logical, cutting through the emotional fog of the merchant's tirade. Where did he source his olives? Who witnessed the pressing? Can he produce his ledgers? The questions reverberate through the grand hall, each one a small testament to the immense impersonal power of Roman law. Here, in this vast, cool basilica, it is not wealth or passion that is supposed to prevail, but order, evidence, and reason. The law is an invisible structure, as real and as solid as the marble columns around you. It's the framework that holds this chaotic, sprawling city together. You feel its weight, its solemnity, a force far more powerful and enduring than the fleeting anger of a cheated merchant. A new sound breaks through the ambient hum of the forum, a sound that is both familiar and intimidating. It's the rhythmic, percussive tramp of marching feet, A patrol of legionary soldiers is making its way down the Sacred Way, the main thoroughfare that cuts through the heart of the Forum. You instinctively press yourself closer to the base of the column, trying to become one with the shadows. There are perhaps a dozen of them, a small contingent, but they move as a single entity, a machine of leather, bronze, and hardened muscle. Their discipline is absolute. Every step is perfectly synchronized. Their hobnailed sandals, the caligy striking the stone slabs with a sharp, unified thump, thump, thump that echoes off the surrounding temples. It's a sound that announces its presence, a sound that demands respect and clears a path. You watch them as they pass, a river of polished bronze helmets and deep red tunics. The sunlight glints off their segmented armor, the lorica segmentata, and the menacing points of their short swords, the gladii, which hang at their hips. Each man carries a large rectangular shield, the scutum, painted with the insignia of their legion. Their faces are grim, tanned by the sun of some distant province, their expressions unreadable. They are the physical embodiment of the emperor's power, the iron fist that maintains the Pax Romana, the Roman peace, from the misty shores of Britannia to the sun-scorched deserts of Syria. Leading them is a centurion, easily identifiable by the transverse crest on his helmet and the gnarled vine staff he carries as a badge of office. His voice is a low guttural bark as he issues a quiet command, and the entire unit executes a flawless turn, their movements sharp and precise. They are not just men, they are a living weapon, a symbol of the order and force that underpins the entire empire. They are the reason the merchant can argue his case in court, the reason the orator can praise the emperor without fear, the reason the Vestals can walk in peace. Their presence is a constant, unspoken reminder that beneath the marble and the law, there is steel. You feel a primal tremor of fear, the instinct of a small animal in the presence of a predator. You stay perfectly still until the sound of their marching fades into the distance, a fading heartbeat of the empire's immense, unyielding strength. The midday sun is now high in the sky, beating down on the white stones of the Forum and making the air shimmer with heat. Your stomach, which had been temporarily satisfied by the baker's hard bread, is beginning to send out new signals of emptiness. Hunger is a constant companion, a dull ache that sharpens your senses and drives your every move. You begin to scan the ground, your nose twitching, sifting through the myriad scents of the city for the one that matters most: discarded food. Luck is with you. At the base of the wide, sweeping steps leading up to the Temple of Saturn, you spot it. A wealthy-looking citizen, fanning himself with a tablet while talking to a friend, has carelessly tossed aside the remnants of his snack. It's the core of a pear, a small, pathetic-looking thing. But to you, it is a treasure. You wait until the men have moved on, their conversation fading into the general drone of the Forum. Then you dart out from the shadows, quick and silent, and snatch the pear core from the ground. You retreat back to the relative safety of the temple steps to enjoy your meal. The fruit is sweet and juicy, a luxurious taste that is a world away from the dry, gusty bread of the morning. As you gnaw on the core, crunching through the seeds, you watch the river of humanity that flows ceaselessly through the Forum. It's the best vantage point in the city, a grand theater of Roman life, and you have a front row seat. Every person who walks by is a story. There's a senator, his toga impossibly white, walking with a slow, deliberate dignity, followed by a small retinue of slaves and clients who hang on his every word. A group of women from the provinces, their brightly colored clothes and wide, astonished eyes marking them as first-time visitors, stare up at the towering columns, their mouths agape in wonder. A slave, his shoulders stooped under the weight of a heavy crate, hurries past, his eyes fixed on the ground, invisible to the powerful men he serves. A pair of lovers, a young soldier and a girl with a flower in her hair, walk hand in hand, lost in their own private world, oblivious to the grandeur and the chaos around them. Priests, merchants, scribes, beggars, tourists, thieves, they all cross this stage. They come from every corner of the empire, speaking 100 different dialects, driven by 1,000 different ambitions and fears. They're the cogs in the great machine, the blood in the veins of the empire. And you, a stray dog chewing on a pear core, are watching it all. You are a silent, forgotten witness to the grand, messy, beautiful, and brutal pageant of life at the center of the world. You leave the forum behind, your belly momentarily quieted by the sweet pear core, and drift eastward. The character of the city begins to shift once more. The stately, almost sterile grandeur of the forum, with its gleaming temples and halls of justice, gives way to something more visceral, more chaotic. And then you see it. Looming over the rooftops, so massive it seems to break the sky, is the Colosseum. Even from a distance, its sheer size is a punch to the gut. It is not a building, it's a man-made mountain of travertine stone, a monument to entertainment on an imperial, almost insane scale. You don't go any closer, you don't need to. You know this place by its other senses. You can hear it. A deep, continuous roar emanates from the structure, a sound like the crashing of a distant ocean. It's the sound of 50,000 people packed together, their individual voices melting into a single, terrifying wall of noise. It's a sound of pure, primal excitement. Woven into this human roar are other sounds, sharper and more chilling. The enraged snarl of a great cat, the trumpeting cry of an elephant, sounds of nature twisted into an unnatural chorus of violence. You don't have to see the gladiators or the condemned prisoners to know what is happening inside. The air itself tells the story. And then there's the smell. It's a thick, complex cocktail that hangs in the air for blocks around the amphitheater. There is the savory, greasy aroma of roasting meat from the countless food stalls that cater to the crowds, a scent designed to trigger hunger and pleasure. But beneath that is the unmistakable coppery tang of blood. It's faint, but persistent, a grim undertone to the festive atmosphere. Mixed with it is the sharp, acrid smell of sweat, the sweat of thousands of excited spectators, the sweat of terrified animals, the sweat of men fighting for their lives under the scorching sun. It's the perfume of life and death, of bread and circuses, a brutal, intoxicating spectacle that keeps the Roman mob happy and distracted. You turn away, the thunderous cheers and the faint smell of blood following you. It's a part of Rome you understand all too well. The insatiable hunger for sensation, the thin line between celebration and destruction. You continue your journey, seeking a pocket of peace in the sprawling, noisy city. You find yourself drawn to the outer wall of the Baths of Trajan. This is another world entirely. If the Colosseum is Rome's roaring, bloodthirsty heart, the baths are its relaxed, contented sigh. The massive complex is a city within a city, a palace dedicated not to emperors or gods, but to the simple democratic pleasure of bathing and socializing. From the outside, you can't see the opulent marble pools or the mosaic tiled floors, but you can feel the building's purpose. It radiates a sense of calm. You find a spot along the massive outer wall where the sun has warmed the stone. You lie down, pressing your body against the rough surface, and an incredible sensation spreads through you. A gentle, steady warmth is seeping out from the wall. It's the heat from the hypocaust system, the ingenious underfloor heating that keeps the bathhouse perpetually warm. For you, it's a small miracle, a pocket of artificial summer in the middle of the city. It's like leaning against the flank of a huge sleeping animal. Its steady warmth a comfort against the hard stone of the street. You close your eyes and just feel, letting the heat soak into your fur, easing the constant ache in your joints. As you rest, the sounds from within the walls paint a picture of the life inside. You hear the rhythmic splash of water, a sound of pure, unadulterated pleasure. It's followed by peals of laughter, relaxed and carefree. These are the sounds of Romans at leisure, their duties and worries temporarily washed away. You hear the sharp smack of a ball being hit in one of the exercise courtyards, the palastra followed by the good-natured shouts of the players. You hear the murmur of conversations. But these are not the anxious whispers of the Suburra or the angry accusations of the basilica. These are the easy, flowing conversations of friends, punctuated by chuckles and relaxed silences. This is where Romans of all classes, from the senator to the shopkeeper, can come to feel clean, to feel healthy, to feel human. It's a sanctuary of steam and warmth, a temporary escape from the dust and the struggle of the city outside. For a little while, you are a part of that peace. You are not a stray dog, but just a creature enjoying the warmth of the sun and the borrowed heat of a peaceful wall, a silent beneficiary of Rome's obsession with comfort and cleanliness. Roused from your warm stupor by a new enchanting sound, you lift your head and follow it. The sound is music, a melody that is pure and clear, a silver thread of sound weaving through the coarser noises of the street. It leads you to a street lined with palatial homes, the domus of Rome's wealthy elite. These are not the precarious, overcrowded insulae of the slums. These are private fortresses of luxury, their high, windowless walls facing the street to ensure privacy and security. But one of the grand wooden doors has been left slightly ajar, a small oversight that offers a tantalizing glimpse into a world you are never meant to see. You creep closer, peering through the narrow gap. Your senses are flooded. Instead of a dark, cramped interior, you see an open-air courtyard, a peristelium, bathed in soft, dappled sunlight. In the center, a small fountain splashes musically into a marble basin, the water sparkling like scattered jewels. The air inside is cool and smells of damp earth, blooming flowers, and something else, a faint, exotic perfume. The walls are covered in vibrant frescoes depicting scenes from mythology, a riot of color and life. This is not just a home, it is a private paradise, a perfect, manicured world sealed off from the grit and chaos of the city. The source of the music is a man, likely a Greek slave, sitting on a small stool in the shade of a colonnade. He is playing a flute, an allos. his fingers dancing effortlessly over the instrument. The melody is slow and melancholic, a tune that speaks of longing and distant shores. It's a sound of heartbreaking beauty, a stark contrast to the brutal roar of the Colosseum you heard earlier. And then the music is suddenly interrupted. A woman's voice, languid and slightly bored, drifts out from a shaded portion of the courtyard you can't see. "Not that one, Lycomedes," she says, her Latin smooth and aristocratic. "It makes me think too much. Play something more cheerful, something from Syria." The flute player stops mid-note. There is a moment of silence, and then he begins a new tune. This one faster, more rhythmic, a lively dance. Like melody, the lazy voice of the unseen woman hums along in approval. It's a tiny, insignificant moment, but it's a perfect snapshot of a life of effortless power and casual luxury. A world where even sadness is an inconvenience that can be dismissed with a quiet command, where beauty is a commodity to be summoned and changed at will. You back away from the door, the cheerful new melody following you. It's a beautiful sound, but it feels as alien and as distant as the stars. The lively Syrian tune fades behind you as you dive back into the public life of the city, drawn by an overwhelming wave of smells and sounds. You have found your way to Trajan's Market, a place that makes the chaos of the Suburra look like a quiet country lane. This isn't a simple, open-air marketplace. It's a multi-story, circular complex of shops and administrative offices. The ancient world's first shopping mall, a testament to Roman engineering and an insatiable appetite for commerce. You slip through the forest of legs and disappear into the bustling lower levels, and your senses are immediately overwhelmed. This place is a symphony of smells, a chaotic but thrilling performance for your highly tuned nose. Every stall, every alcove, every passing merchant contributes a new note to the grand composition. From one corner comes the sharp, pungent aroma of spices from the east: cinnamon, cloves, and pepper. So strong it makes you want to sneeze. These are not just flavors, they are concentrated wealth. Tiny dried specks of the exotic that have traveled thousands of miles by ship and camel to be here. Next to it is the clean, earthy scent of Egyptian linen, stacked in neat, creamy, white bolts. Then comes the overpowering, salty reek of garum, the fermented fish sauce from Spain that Romans put on everything. It's an odor that is both repulsive and deeply, fundamentally Roman. And woven through these exotic imports are the smells of home, the sweet, ripe scent of local melons and figs piled high in precarious pyramids, the sharp tang of aged cheese, the earthy smell of onions and garlic, the fresh, green aroma of herbs. It's the smell of the entire empire, from its farthest flung provinces to the fertile fields of Italy, all concentrated into this one vibrant, overwhelming space. The sound is just as intense. It is a cacophony of commerce. The sharp, clinking sound of coins being counted, the rhythmic thud of a butcher's cleaver, the shouts of vendors hawking their wares, their voices polished by years of practice. Your attention is caught by a particularly heated exchange. A housewife, her face flushed with determination, is locked in a fierce negotiation with a vegetable seller over a handful of leeks. Her voice is sharp. His is dismissive. She insists the price is outrageous, an insult to the gods themselves. He claims the vegetables were picked this very morning by Vestal virgins under a full moon. They are not just leeks, they are an experience. They haggle over 1 or 2 tiny copper coins, the smallest denominations of currency. To an outsider, the argument might seem trivial, but here, in the heart of the market, it is everything. It is a daily ritual, a battle of wits and wills, a performance of thrift and salesmanship. It's a reminder that for most people in this city, every single coin matters. This is where the grand abstract economy of the empire becomes real, loud, and personal. Tucked away in a less crowded corner of the sprawling market, far from the prime stalls selling exotic spices and fresh produce, you find a different kind of merchant. This man is not selling anything tangible, he is selling words. He is a poet, a man with a wild look in his eyes and a tunic that has seen better days, its hem frayed and stained. He stands on a slightly elevated step, a makeshift stage, and recites his verses to the river of people flowing past him. His voice is surprisingly strong, trained to carry over the din of the market and filled with a passionate, desperate energy. You sit at a respectful distance, your head cocked, and listen. The words are a beautiful rolling cascade of Latin, full of grand heroes and graceful goddesses. You hear the name of Venus, the goddess of love, her beauty compared to the dawn sky over the sea. You hear the name of Ulysses, the cunning hero of epic voyages, his courage praised as being stronger than the bronze shields of the legions. The poet's hands gesture dramatically as he paints pictures in the air, his body swaying with the rhythm of the verse. He is pouring his entire soul into the performance, trying to conjure a moment of beauty and magic amidst the relentless pragmatism of the market. He has tried to trade his dreams for bread, but the crowd is a harsh critic. People hurry past, their arms laden with groceries, their minds occupied with prices and errands. A few cast a curious glance in his direction, their pace slowing for a moment before they are swept away by the current of the crowd. A group of young boys mock him for a moment, laughing at his dramatic poses before their mother shoos them along. Almost no one stops. His beautiful words about gods and heroes fall on deaf ears, dissolving into the cacophony of commerce without a trace. He is offering them art, but they are here for leeks. After one particularly stirring verse about the bravery of Ulysses, he falls silent, his chest heaving, his hopeful eyes scanning the faces of the passers-by. No one tosses a coin. A look of profound, weary disappointment settles over his face. He is a man out of place, a singer of forgotten songs in an age of iron and commerce. In a city that builds monuments to power, a poet's words are as fleeting and as insubstantial as the wind. Leaving the market and its disappointed poet behind, you wander towards the river. The late afternoon sun is beginning its slow descent, and the air is growing cooler. You find yourself on one of the stone bridges that span the Tiber River, a solid arched structure that has stood for centuries. The river below is a muddy, swirling ribbon of brown, but in the golden light of the setting sun, its surface glimmers and shines as if it were made of liquid gold. The city's noise is softer here, muffled by the wide open space and the gentle lapping of the water against the stone piers. You are not the only one seeking a moment of peace on the bridge. Leaning against the stone parapet silhouetted against the glittering water is a young couple. He is a soldier, you can tell by his haircut and the way he stands, but he is out of uniform, dressed in a simple civilian tunic. She is a young woman, her hair simply tied back, her face turned up towards him, full of an emotion you recognize instantly: adoration. They are in their own world, a private island in the middle of the bustling city. They speak in low whispers, their heads close together, their words intended only for each other. You creep closer, not to intrude, but simply to be near the warmth of their connection. You can't hear everything, but you catch the young man's voice, low and earnest. He is making a promise. You hear the words for military service, stipendium, and the word for his return. He is telling her that he has to leave, that his legion is being posted to a distant province, somewhere cold and barbaric. But he promises her, he swears by the gods, that when his term of service is done, he will come back. He will come back for her, and they will get married. Her hand finds his and she squeezes it tightly. She says something you can't hear, but her eyes shining in the fading light say everything. It's a scene as old as time, a story that is played out on 1,000 bridges in 1,000 cities. A promise of a future made against a backdrop of uncertainty. A small, fragile flame of hope lit against the vast, impersonal machinery of the empire that will soon carry him away. For this one perfect moment, they are not a soldier and a girl. They are just two people, their lives and their futures held together by a whispered promise over a golden river. The sun, now a great, molten orb of orange and red, begins to dip below the Janiculum hill on the far side of the river. Its final dramatic act of the day is to set the city ablaze with a soft golden fire. The harsh whites and grays of the daytime are gone, replaced by a palette of warm, gentle hues. The Palatine Hill, the traditional home of Rome's emperors and its most ancient aristocracy, catches the light most spectacularly. The sprawling palaces and gleaming white temples that crown its summit are transformed. What were monuments of cold, intimidating power during the day now look like dreamscapes, their marble walls glowing with a warm, ethereal light, as if they were carved from solidified honey. The gilded roofs, which had been blindingly bright at noon, now smolder with a deep, coppery radiance. It is a moment of pure, breathtaking beauty, a fleeting illusion that washes over the entire city. The frantic energy of the day begins to recede. The relentless noise of commerce and politics softens, its sharp edges worn smooth by the approaching dusk. The great machine of Rome is slowing down, preparing for its nightly rest. You can feel the change in the rhythm of the streets. The crowds are thinning out. The hurried, purposeful strides of the daytime are replaced by the slower, more weary steps of people heading home. You see a flock of pigeons, their wings catching the last rays of sunlight, wheeling in a graceful arc over the forum before settling down for the night in the eaves of a temple. They are saying goodbye to the day, and so are you. You sit on the cool stones of the bridge, watching the colors deepen and fade, a silent witness to the city's golden farewell. For a few precious moments, Rome is not a brutal, chaotic metropolis. It is a place of profound and gentle peace. As the last sliver of the sun disappears, a new kind of light begins to appear in the streets, fighting back against the encroaching darkness. It's the age before electricity, a world lit by fire. You see the first of them appear, slaves, carrying long poles with a smoldering wick at the end, moving with a practiced, almost ceremonial slowness. They stop at the oil lamps that are mounted on brackets at major street corners and outside the homes of the wealthy. One by one, they touch their poles to the wicks of the lamps. A small flame sputters to life, then another and another. It's a quiet, nightly ritual, a slow, deliberate pushing back of the night. The light they create is nothing like the harsh, even glare of modern streetlights. It's a soft, flickering, living light. It dances and sways with every gust of wind. It doesn't banish the darkness completely. Instead, it creates a dramatic new landscape of light and shadow. The familiar streets are transformed. The grand facades of buildings are thrown into sharp relief, while the alleys and recesses between them become pools of impenetrable blackness. The flickering lamplight makes the marble statues seem to tremble, as if they are about to stir from their stone slumber. Every corner, every doorway, every column now has a long, distorted shadow trailing behind it. The city at night is a different beast entirely. It is a place of mystery, of secrets, of things half seen and half imagined. The light is a comfort, a small beacon of civilization against the ancient, primal fear of the dark. But it is also a curtain. It conceals as much as it reveals, and it casts shadows deep enough to hide a multitude of sins. You watch the lamplighters complete their work, and you know, with a certainty that settles deep in your bones, that the Roman night has truly begun. The city at night belongs to a different set of inhabitants. The senators, merchants, as respectable housewives are now safely behind their locked doors. The streets are left to the watchmen, the drunkards, the lovers, and those who conduct their business under the cloak of darkness. You feel the shift and adapt accordingly. Your movements becoming more cautious, your senses on high alert. You slip off the main thoroughfare, which is now dangerously exposed in the flickering lamplight, and melt into a narrow, unlit alley. It is a sliver of pure blackness between two towering insulae, a place where the smells of the daytime, damp stone, refuse, and stale cooking odors, are trapped and concentrated. You press yourself into a recessed doorway, making yourself as small as possible. It is here, in the absolute darkness, that you hear them. Two men, their voices are low, urgent whispers, a stark contrast to the loud public voices of the day. They are standing just a few feet from your hiding place, their dark shapes barely distinguishable from the surrounding shadows. They think they are alone. They are wrong. You can't understand all of their clipped, furtive conversation, but your hearing is sharp, and you catch key words that paint a dark, intriguing picture. Merce's cargo portus, the port, and then a more specific phrase, tertium horium, the third warehouse. One of the men speaks with a rough, guttural accent you associate with the dockworkers from Ostia, the port of Rome. The other man's Latin is smoother, more refined, but his tone is just as tense. They are not making a simple business deal. There's a tension in their whispers, a sense of risk that hangs heavy in the air. This is a transaction that cannot withstand the light of day. They are planning something clandestine, something that needs the cover of night and the anonymity of a dark alley. You don't know if they are smugglers, thieves, or something else entirely. You don't know what kind of cargo they are discussing, or what is so important about a third warehouse down at the port. But you can feel the danger. It's a cold, metallic taste in the air, a sense of coiled energy, of a plan that could easily erupt into violence. The men exchange a final, clipped phrase. A small, heavy bag changes hands with a soft clinking sound, and then they separate, melting back into the darkness in opposite directions as silently as they appeared. The alley is empty once more, but the air is still charged with the residue of their secret. Just as the last echo of the secret transaction fades, a new sound intrudes upon the silence of the night. It is a steady, rhythmic beat, distant at first, but growing closer. The sound of heavy sandals on cobblestones accompanied by the clatter of wood against wood. You recognize it immediately. It's the sound of the vigiles, the night watchmen making their rounds. They are a familiar presence in the Roman night, a fixture as constant as the moon and stars. Part firefighters, part police force. They are the official guardians of the city's slumber, tasked with patrolling the dark labyrinthine streets to prevent fires, catch burglars, and keep a semblance of order in the sprawling, chaotic metropolis. You press yourself deeper into the doorway, tucking your body into the darkest corner of the recess. You are not a criminal, but in the eyes of the watchman, an unattended dog is a nuisance at best, and a potential carrier of disease at worst. It's always safer to remain unseen. You can hear their voices now, calling out to each other in a practiced echoing chant that serves both to reassure the sleeping citizens and to warn any potential wrongdoers of their approach. All's well on the third watch. One voice calls out, its sound bouncing off the high walls of the insulae. All's well, another voice answers from a street away. It's a lonely, almost mournful sound, a human attempt to impose order on the vast, indifferent darkness. The patrol turns into your alley. The flickering orange light from their torches precedes them, casting long, dancing shadows that leap and writhe across the grimy walls. The light is a wave that you must let wash over you without being seen. You hold your breath, your muscles tense, your body as still as the stone you are pressed against. The watchmen pass your hiding place, their faces illuminated in brief, passing flashes. They are ordinary men, their expressions a mixture of boredom and vigilance. They carry buckets and axes for fighting fires and heavy clubs for discouraging thieves. They are not legionaries, they are the city's caretakers, the humble, hard-working men who stand guard while the heart of the empire sleeps. Their torchlight sweeps across your doorway for a fraction of a second, but you are tucked deep enough in the shadows to escape their notice. They continue down the alley, their footsteps and their calls slowly fading back into the general hum of the night. You wait until their light is completely gone, until the sound of their patrol is just a faint, rhythmic pulse in the distance. Only then do you allow yourself to exhale, a silent, steamy puff of relief in the cold night air. The guardians have passed and the shadows are yours once again. A deep, instinctual pull begins to guide your paws. The adventures and anxieties of the night have taken their toll, and a bone-deep weariness is setting in. It's time to find a place to rest, a safe haven to wait out the remaining hours of darkness. You don't have a home, not in the human sense of the word. You have territories, safe spots, places that offer a degree of warmth or shelter. And tonight, you find yourself drawn back to the place where your day began. You retrace your steps through the maze of sleeping streets, your senses guiding you through the familiar darkness. You arrive back at the small alley behind the bakery, the place where you awoke to the smell of bread and the sounds of the waking city. The alley is silent now, the daytime chaos replaced by a profound stillness. But as you approach the back wall of the bakery, you feel it. A gentle, persistent warmth radiating through the stone. It's the residual heat from the massive brick oven, the furnace. which has been blazing all day to bake the city's bread. The baker has long since gone to bed, but his oven, like a great sleeping beast, continues to exhale its warmth into the night. You press your body against the wall, and the sensation is one of pure, unadulterated bliss. It's a deep, penetrating heat that seems to melt the cold from your bones and soothe your tired muscles. It is the most luxurious comfort you will know all day. You curl up at the base of the wall, finding a spot where the warmth is strongest. And then you notice another scent. It's not the smell of baked bread, but something cleaner, yastier. It's the aroma of the dough for tomorrow's loaves, already mixed and set out in large wooden troughs inside, slowly rising in the ambient warmth of the bakery. It's a smell of promise, of the cycle of life continuing, of the nourishment that will sustain the city for another day. It is the smell of a new beginning, even here at the end of the night. The warm wall is your hearth, the smell of rising dough your lullaby. You have found the safest, most comforting place in your small, circumscribed world. You tuck your nose into your tail, curling your body into a tight, self-contained ball to conserve the borrowed warmth. The vast, sprawling city of Rome, with all its grandeur and its squalor, its glories and its sorrows, begins to fade. The distant shouts, the barking of other dogs, the rumble of a late-night cart, they all merge into a single, distant drone. The sound of the empire breathing in its sleep. Your mind, in its own way, replays the day. A gallery of faces and moments flickers behind your closed eyes. The tired, kind face of the baker's wife. The fleeting, gentle touch of the little girl, Livia. The angry merchant in the cool basilica. The awe-struck faces in the crowd as the Vestals passed. The proud legionaries, their sentinels striking sparks on the stone. The young lovers on the bridge, their whispered promises hanging in the golden air. The secret, dangerous transaction in the dark alley. They are all threads in the immense, impossibly complex tapestry of the city. Senators and slaves, poets and bakers, soldiers and children. They are all dreaming their own dreams, caught in the grip of their own hopes and fears. They are Rome, and in your own small, silent way, so are you. You are the unseen observer, the forgotten witness, a tiny beating heart in the shadow of the eagle's wings. You have survived another day. You have navigated the currents of the great river of life that flows through these streets. And now it is time to rest. As the warmth from the oven seeps into your dreaming bones, and the city murmurs its ancient, unending story all around you, you close your eyes, you let go, and you drift off to sleep.